agresif ya dari
Cuk.
Hades. Bener-bener
Sorry,
ngejagain
guys.
tadi jalan balik dari Innocence dan itu unpredictable move banget sih.
Rada aneh
Rumput yang
mau.
mungkin nggak di-expect juga kan.
Ono
Ya
suatu
bayarannya
kendala
masih
ya,
ada di
guys.
turret bagian atas, mereka dapat outer turret dibayar dengan outer turret juga. Tapi jangan lupa nih setup dari Turtle. Objektif selanjutnya ada di bagian bawah. Maka dari itu mereka harus udah mulai juga nih setup balik. Dan jangan lupa power Soul Saver dan juga Retribution itu sangat-sangat enak untuk kontes objektif.
Mereka memang sangat kuat. Ghost tapi telah dibuka. Tapi lihat Sekis target utama menuju ke courtesy itulah target yang utama. Tapi Venice terlalu sakit membuat para pasukan dari tim Selang Orange ataupun ke arah belakang. Dengan ada satu buah pantal kembali yang dipegang oleh para pasukan NIP Flash ini membuat mereka semakin kuat. Quality safety untuk para pasukan tim Selang Orange Giants menghentikan dominasi atas NIP Flash dan itu semua berkat Stromy. Dan di sana ketika Hades masuk terlalu dalam, Hades shutdown kembali terjadi. Owning condition semuanya terhadap overcommit hilang sekejap.
Lagi dan lagi telat sepertinya dicoba untuk secure bagian bawahnya. Satu misplay tadi yang cukup mahal dan lihat dengan hadirnya Kram mereka mau paksa sepertinya di bagian bawah. Untungnya GPL ada menemani posisi dari Phoenix. Jadi gagal kali ini untuk Selang Orange Giant mencuri outer turret kembali.
Harga yang sangat mahal untuk Hades pertama. Dan kedua itu adalah salah satu tindakan-tindakan yang gak penting. Unnecessary move yang tidak harus dilakukan oleh seorang Hades. Sekalipun pertukaran dengan para pembuff dan dia tumbang, itu tetap gak worth it.
Yang penting ya pokoknya kalau untuk gold lane sih sementara menurut gue ya dia tumbang gak ada yang worth it sih. Kecuali sampai wipe out gitu-gitu lah dengan bayaran yang mahal 1/2. Kalau bisa ya jangan tumbang sama sekali. Makanya ngelihat dari Innocence yang udah tumbang 1 kali ini dia akan lebih waspada lagi. Dari positioningnya juga dia akan lebih jaga posisi lagi. Masih gue belum melihat ada diversion yang se-ekstrim mungkin ya kalau kita bahas Lui, Fnatic Onyx.
Ya mungkin karena dia undergold dan juga mereka belum bisa mendapatkan power team fight. Cuma yang harus kita garis bawahi tadi, Seki sudah coba melakukan flanking gaming. Tapi tanpa ada following up dari Selang Orange Giants ternyata memang gak kuat. Karena preheat yang dilakukan oleh para pasukan dari tim NIP Flash Bruno lebih tepatnya itu membuat Sekis gak bisa bertahan cukup lama di sana. Sekitar 2-3 pukulan aja Sekis tuh udah harus mundur. Kalau terlambat sedikit Sekisnya tumbang.
Apalagi bedanya Ji, kalau ngelihat dari Joy Jungle ya jarang banget gue ngeliat glowing one Ji. Dan kasusnya Bruno ini dia bisa ngehit balik dengan lifesteal yang gede kan.
Lifesteal gede, terus abis itu dia gak tumbang karena lifestealnya besar plus damage magical. Gak terlalu
tutup. Itu yang gue bilang. Kayak mau gak mau nih kalau memang mau solo kill ya kejadiannya ya. Itu tetap harus butuh glowing. Nah masalahnya itu ngebuang slot banget kalau Joy-nya jungle. Apakah itu menjadi solusi yang bagus gitu kan? Karena kalau ngomongin Joy yang tadi dah di game pertama, itu ada di match pertama maksudnya, itu Joy-nya kan mid lane tuh, ada glowing Ji. Dia bisa tuh ngejar bagian belakang. Nah, kayak Bruno gini. Atau kalau kita ngomongin Joy juga yang pernah digunakan oleh teman-teman dari Mobile Zenith juga.
Oke, Flicker lihat tangannya onboard pas mendapatkan kills dari para sana para pasukan dari tim Selang Orange Giants mereka kehilangan
verifikasi anjir. Oke lanjut cuk pas suara anjir.
Laner mereka kehilangan inisiator tapi ini dia diversion yang ekstrim. Sekis masuk ke dalam sana terlihat posisinya oleh seorang Vanis tapi free hit dengan adanya satu free fight. Tetap masih bisa selamat sedangkan Vanis berhasil mendapatkan satu poin kill tambahan. Dan di depan sana Sekis tidak bisa menahan damage yang diberikan oleh seorang Vanis. Gak kuat damage yang terlalu besar. Satu damage turret hampir menumbangkan seorang Sekis. Meanwhile Innocent satu hit terakhir. Dan Innocent Dewi Fortuna masih berada di pundak Innocent.
Nyaris banget tumbang. Tapi secara garis besar Diablo aja nih berarti menjadi korban dan kembali setup ke arah Lordnya. Hades memang udah low XP banget. Coba.
Yules dan menuju ke arah Hades. Ini berbahaya banget walaupun dia berhasil mendapatkan Lord hampir saja tumbang dan ini harus disengage. Mereka jangan sampai kehilangan Lord yang sudah mereka dapatkan dengan sulit. Dan akhirnya mereka mendapatkan free giveaway Lord.
Ini Seki susah banget masuk sih Ji. Kelihatan banget Phoenix dia nggak takut sama sekali ngelihat Joy. Ngedas dengan rhythm of Joy-nya juga. Itu langsung dipukul. Electrifying Blitz-nya bahkan belum sempat nyala. 3 item power spike dari Bruno sudah ada.
Suaranya piye iki?
Krungu jelas ora. Sementara Granger dari Innocence. Hunter Strike dan Malefic Roar. Ya, Granger jarang, hampir gak ada bahkan yang pakai Malefic Gun ya. Karena dia nggak basic attack dependent, dia dengan skill dependent. Jadi Malefic Roar itu bakal lebih jelas juga. Penetnya bakal lebih bisa ngebocorin pertahanan-pertahanan yang keras sekalian. Tapi mungkin kalau kita ngelihat dari arah mid lanernya, Courtesy ini ngambil 2 DPS loh, Wishing Lantern dan juga Glowing. Ini 2 item yang enak banget untuk makan bagian depan.
Tapi menurut gua ini dari Krami udah mulai harus ini sih sinkron sama Sekisnya sih. takut yang akhirnya membuat sosok dari Sekis ini menjadi sia-sia. Lihat Yums dapat tangan masih berapa Hades.
Mati mana?
Didapatkan oleh para pasukan dari tim Selangor Giants. Surprise happy birthday untuk seorang Hades untuk kesekian kalinya. Yums,
ini pancet
instrumen
gawean
surprise yang tidak ada hentinya membuat para pasukan dari tim NIP Flash mereka kehilangan dari gold difference yang udah mereka owning.
Iya, bahkan cuma dapetin
bisa
satu
ingat iku mana?
inner turret berarti ya. Dan ya pertarungan masih berlanjut juga di arah mid lane. NIP Flash mereka sabar, Yoji agresif ke bagian depan.
Oke, tapi depan sana para pasukan dari tim Selangor Giants mereka berhasil mendapatkan courtesy. Meanwhile mereka kehilangan Phoenix. Satu persatu dibahan, semua dilahap, semua dimakan. Bahan makanan para pasukan dari tim Selangor Giants tanpa ada pertukaran sama sekali, ini merugikan para pasukan tim NIP Flash. Dan kembali lagi kita udah sempat berbicara Lim, kalau owning early condition itu bukan segalanya.
Tapi jujur satu nama sih J, Innocence. Dari game pertama, game kedua terlihat sangat disiplin. Dan selalu ada damage-nya gitu. Mungkin tadi ya terkena sekali trapping di awal, gak ada masalah sama sekali. Sekarang lihat goldnya. Outer mid-nya terbongkar, inner-nya juga hampir hancur. Dan kita bisa lihat dari replay. Bisa dibilang dengan Ioji agresifnya, ini bisa ngebeli waktu nih. Dan courtesy yang ditabrak. Real world manipulation ini dibuka pun gak bisa selamat, belum lagi dengan Yoms. Special migration-nya itu loh yang selalu dapat target-target mahal. Sebelumnya dapat Hades, tadi dapat 2 orang. Dan itu langsung bisa di follow.
Tapi itu dia, kita udah sempat berbicara Stormy dengan adanya low yang dia miliki.
Cuk, karo pick-pickan
duality-nya benar-benar on point sekali. Dan itu kalau bukan karena duality mereka nggak bisa juga terkena damage dengan maksimal di depan sana.
Iya, gua lumayan setuju juga sih, duality ini mengambil aspek penting juga dari damage dealt-nya. Bukan hanya duality sebenarnya, diversion juga kalau kita flashback sedikit tadi itu yang bisa dapetin kill ke arah Hadesnya. Sekarang Lord sudah muncul, laning jauhnya, far lane-nya ini udah mulai dikontrol juga oleh teman-teman dari SRG. Mereka mungkin akan kontes.
Wah, topnya staking. 2 wave harusnya di depan sana ya, 2 wave setengah lah.
Oh, bawa dilepas di.
Dan bahkan lihat Lordnya bakal coba dilepas atau tidak. Diablo telah memberikan vision untuk para pasukan NIP Flash. Untuk menarik lebih dalam lagi para pasukan dari tim NIP Flash, mereka membutuhkan Burst Pathway. Dan lihat di depan sana Diablo tumbang. Special migration dengan aja Field Track Wave menghilangkan para pasukan dari tim NIP Flash. Avatar of Guardian for nothing, belum ada yang bisa dipegang. Mendapatkan karena Phoenix yang terlalu sakit. Tapi lihat Sekis mencoba untuk melakukan flanking camping. Sandwich dari backline, masih sabar. Target utama mereka menuju ke arah Lord. Setelah mereka berhasil mendapatkan Diablo.
Wow, zoning yang sangat-sangat bagus. Diversion tadi hanya Sekis yang dilempar ke bagian depan. Dan sekarang Lord terbuka dengan sangat-sangat bebas. Akan menjadi free Lord juga. Gak akan ada kontes yang dilakukan terlalu jauh juga teman-teman dari NIP Flash. So kali ini temponya dipegang oleh SRG. The Blade of Despair, Innocence. Make sure damage-nya akan cukup nanti. Entah dengan apapun, Rhapsody, Death Sonata. Udah dikasih orange buff juga, poke damage-nya akan mengerikan banget nih. Death Sonata yang range-nya lumayan jauh. Kayaknya nggak ada jawaban yang pasti deh sampai saat ini.
Belum ada jawaban pasti. Sama, mereka sebenarnya Selangor Giants itu nggak punya jawaban pasti atas Phoenix, sejujurnya. Tapi karena tadi flanking gaming yang bisa dilakukan oleh Joy berbeda dengan adanya sosok seorang Suyo, itulah yang membedakan mereka, Lim.
Iya. Dan kita akan lihat nih, untuk Lord yang baru muncul, sudah nggak ada pasif dari base turret-nya. Lord ke arah atas, dan ini Lord yang sudah enhance. Ada charge nanti. Mungkin atas bisa kita bilang hampir 100% hancur.
Hampir.
Masalahnya landing line-nya ini loh, tengahnya, bawahnya ini mau digunakan seperti apa Lord?
Tapi sepertinya mereka akan coba melakukan flicker, tapi nampaknya Diablo gagal untuk mendapatkan siapapun. Dan di arah top lane ini akan menjadi kesempatan untuk para pasukan Selangor Giants. Avatar of Guardian harusnya standby, karena ini akan menjadi satu bom momen yang sangat mahal untuk Gatot Kaca bisa masuk ke dalam. Range-nya makin kecil. Dengan skala seperti di arah base seperti ini, Avatar of Guardian mungkin possibility kenanya hingga 50%.
Iya, tapi untuk kaburnya juga susah sebenarnya, Ji. Tinggal pertanyaan ini aja nih, siapa yang kena Avatar of Guardian?
Yums, Consult Gaming, Yums juga belakang. Targetnya menuju ke arah Hades. Hilang kembali di dalam jungle dengan damage yang diberikan oleh seorang Suyo. Mereka tersisa 4 orang saja, Avatar Guardian masih free. Meanwhile di arah belakang para pasukan dari Selangor Giants mencoba untuk memaksakan dengan quality terlebih dahulu. Mereka tidak mau terlalu terburu-buru. Belajar dari kesalahan di game sebelumnya, para pasukan dari tim Selangor Giants akhirnya memilih untuk disengage untuk bottom lane base turret targetnya.
Iya, perlahan ya. Mereka nggak mau nih sampai overextend juga untuk nabrak ke bagian depan. Dapetin 3 base turret ini menjadi mimpi indah juga untuk SRG, tapi gold mereka terlalu jauh, Ji. Mereka akan coba paksa sedikit.
Oke, mereka akan paksa sedikit. Tapi satu hal, datangnya Yums masih mendapatkan 1 poin kill dan 1 Sekis yang menyala. Menghilangkan Diablo dengan sangat cepat. Avatar of Guardian F level. Tapi kalau ngelihat ke arah minion yang berlom, cukup maksimal di clear ini, kayaknya mereka nggak terlalu memaksa sih. Ini bisa di clear dengan cepat soalnya oleh seorang Hades.
Iya, selama Hadesnya muncul berarti tandanya untuk mundur lagi.
Tapi
SRG 3 base turret. Seperti yang gue bilang tadi, Ji, ini udah menjadi mimpi indah untuk mereka. 8.000 gold.
BS ku
Mereka
gak
unggulin
ditek,
juga.
Cuk.
Masuk di menit 15 perbedaan gold ini masih
Gak wheeling nang
sangat-sangat
jero
terasa
BS
juga.
lho.
Lord sebentar lagi
Nah,
juga akan
iku gak
muncul nih di
login
bagian
ngono lho.
top lane. Gak ada Bestarat di bagian bawah, so pressure-nya gak akan berhenti sampai di sana. Kayak Piercer sudah jadi dan stacknya tadi udah banyak banget untuk Innocence. Bahkan sepatunya udah diganti. Dia udah background
Iyalah.
gold nih. Jaga-jaga nanti mungkin
Tuku
ada
ta.
tabrakan ke arah belakang. Dia masih punya shield juga. Mungkin ya 1 poin dari Jums nih. Apapun itemnya Yum, selama special migration-nya kena, gua rasa itu bakal menjadi hal yang sangat-sangat positif juga untuk SRG dan
lah gak wheeling gak kena.
Kevanix di depan sana terperangkap. Gak ada Vanix.
Iso-iso cik kocak.
Vanix pun juga hilang. Ini tidak ada lagi jawaban untuk para pasukan dari tim Selangor Red Giants untuk menahan kemenangan mereka. Ada wipe out. Ini bencana.
Wow, wis and
berhasil didapatkan raksasa dari
2-1
pasukan
kalian.
Malaysia.
Wow, 2 poin tanpa balas. Sangat-sangat terlihat juga pergerakan dari SRG yang dimana early-nya mereka masih punya beberapa misplay. Namun dibayar lunas. Mid to late game adalah zonanya mereka, adalah waktunya mereka. Bahkan NIP yang sekarang harus reset, yang harus bisa untuk ngebalikin nanti, at least mengejar 1 poin karena match point. 1 langkah lagi untuk SRG memulangkan NIP Flash.
Kembali lagi raksasa yang udah mulai dihajar di awal, tapi mereka bangkit dari kekalahan early game. Dan early game bukan segalanya. Sopa Analyst take it away.
Oh iya, Cik, durung ngecas aku, Cik. Lali aku, Cik. Oke, hilang.
Kemenangan kembali ini didapatkan oleh Selangor Red Giant, sang raksasa dari Malaysia.
Sopo nelpon nih? Sopo nelpon? Tuku.
Yang terlihat sudah mulai bangun dari tidurnya. Dan mereka tampil dengan sangat dominan di 2 game match kedua kita di hari ini. Dan membuat match point berada di tangan mereka. Dan apakah NIP Flash udah siap nih berhadapan dengan sang raksasa yang sepertinya udah mulai terbangun kembali nih Om?
Iya, menurutku mereka dari SRG ini sudah lebih well prepared dibandingkan dengan NIP Flash juga ya. Terbukti dengan draft yang mereka bawakan tadi, di mana mereka berani untuk melepaskan Suyo dan juga Bruno, dan mereka pede masih. Meskipun ini Bruno masih menjadi nightmare-nya ya, tapi mereka berhadapan dengan Granger yang ternyata juga menjadi salah satu ya poin penting mereka. Dan yang kedua, Logi dengan diversity-nya juga. Jadi dia menjadi
segone kari titik awakmu lak mari. Oke. Tuku piro, Pan? Segoe. Tuku piro? Kon mangan tak gak pisan? Dorong. Tuku nang dompetmu. Duwe mau nang ndi? Nang tas. Sorry rek, gangguan. Krungu jelas gak suaraku? Halo. Lapa aku minta iki ya?
tipping point mungkin ya buat Selangor Giants.
Ya, karena untuk dari segi chemistry dan juga skill symphony itu benar-benar berjalan banget. Yang aku lihat itu urutannya
Cuk, kaitannya mau
belakangnya dibuka dengan Avatar of the Guardian. Seenggaknya walaupun itu bisa di counter dengan ada Purify, itu menjadi sebuah green flag untuk Yums masuk dengan inhibitornya.
Dan ini aku ngelihat emang Coach Arcadia nggak asal ngomong ya kalau di mereka bilang dia bisa nge-counter Bruno, dan terbukti gitu, dia Bruno.
Memang kalau kita lihat ya, lagi-lagi early game yang memang selalu dimenangkan oleh NIP Flash.
Ya.
Sama mereka berhasil loh untuk bisa mendapatkan objektif demi objektif di awal-awal game ya, bahkan kembali dengan poin kill yang cukup banyak dipegang oleh Hades sebelum di lot yang pertama.
Ya, lagi-lagi ya, dengan Hades juga Suyo yang keunggulan buat di early game. Cuman ini mungkin satu fenomena buat match yang
the assassin emblem, but still not sacrificing the spell vamp from the Festival of Blood. And with 9 kills, he had a lot of spell vamp that game.
Oh yeah, and he also had the most amount of damage, surprise to nobody, 100,000. Nice round numbers, I like it. I like that from Innocent. But this is in tandem with Stormy, right? I think one of the most underrated facts about Loyi is if you can make your decisions fast and get your whole team on board, you can make some incredible plays happen. And the fact that they had pretty hard reads, despite the fact that we've seen some blind engages coming in from Diablo, whether it be the Earth Shatter Flicker or the Earth Shatter Onward, they were still confident enough to catch Hades midway after himself revealing himself with the Lord walking down mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, right now, SRG, they're doing a good job with Yumes and with Cram on finding ways to create chaos, right? Finding ways to get to the backline. Even in the game prior, you got to see them do that with the Hilda as well. But this time around, having the Katat, having the Guinevere combination, when you see a lot of mistakes from both sides in these clashes, having a hero that can just jump right in and find that mistake and make an opportunity is what's winning them over in this series.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Selangor Giants, I feel like it's that one play coming in from Stormy that really activated the team. But now, we gotta look at our MVP of the game. And I gotta say, Cram did amazing in this one with the Gato de Kacha. So our MVP is going over to Cram. And again, I feel like Cram definitely deserves it, not just for this game. All throughout M6, he's been the rock for SRG.
He's been pretty solid. I definitely think people probably look past him because, oh, sometimes he plays the Hilda. He's willing to die and trade for a mid turret. And most people are going to be like, the goal difference isn't really going to matter, but it's a mid tier 1. People need to recognize that he's willing to die for the team on their call. He's not. He's actively telling them, leave me be, secure the objectives that we need so that we can get benefits later down the line. And he did the same thing with this Gatot. Initially, that early game was looking bad. How does he hold the waves? How does he control those movements to reinform his team and also reinforce when the pinches needed to happen?
And he's doing that against an XP laner whose specialty is mobility, Diablo, and he's able to find that opportunity before him, and that's making a major difference.
Yep, now we're gonna look at the highlights here coming in. The MVP highlights for Cram. Though I gotta say, so far looking at this, again, NFP Flash caught some mistakes coming in from Selangor Giants where even Hades was able to come up with 3 kills. But later on, again, that one play coming in from a Stormy really set things up for the team.
Yep, I mean, the team likes to follow up on each other, and I think that's what makes people really excited for SRG's side, right? Most of the time, you would have a standard procedure on how to engage. SRG, it's extremely fluid. It doesn't matter who does it first, as long as it connects, then you can have incredible plays. This double taunt here, maybe unintentional, but the follow-up coming in from Yumes with the Magic Thumb, again, it just boils down to execution and how SRG needs to be able to kind of push the tempo when necessary, and most importantly, when they're playing off of the power spikes of the carries.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are seeing like a lot of missed falls, but it's really separating the battle line, right? It's like I'm diving in a direction that you can't go to anymore. So whether you like it or not, now one big team fight is splitting into 2. So I kind of feel like that's the idea of Cram here, because he understands that SRG, this is a different way of picking people off. Instead of directly taking one person and locking them down, he's just splitting up the front line and the back line, and then SRG gets to choose which one they want to chase after.
I think the best example of this would be, you know, when you're playing in the sand, you want to protect your sandcastle from the waves, you start digging trenches to flow that water into a completely separate direction. If not, build a dam to ensure that it protects it, right? Either way, it still achieves the exact same thing. Kind of funnel them in, push them in towards your left hand before you finish the clap.
And now, honestly, I feel a bit hungry. And this time, I come a little bit prepared. Because we gotta do this a little bit elegantly, all right? Let me just grab. Yeah, here we go.
I've been waiting for this. He's been bragging about this all
my
day.
bowl.
No
This
way.
makes so much sense, right? Because we've been taking it from the box, but now we can share it. We can share it properly. See, this is how you do it. So now we can all see the greatness of Hello Panda. Oh, and I think it's gonna be enough.
Oh boy. Don't forget, everybody, you can fuel your game with Hello Panda with crunchy biscuits filled with creamy chocolate, or in this case, strawberry, the ultimate snack to keep you energized to level up your day. So visit Hello Panda's website for more. I thought when you meant elegantly, you were gonna bring out, like, I don't know, chocolate flags, pink flags. I even wore the pink suit just for it.
Yeah, but no, see, this is much easier. Now we can share it, and now we know when we're running low, so that we can eat it faster.
Good call. Good call. Very elegant of you.
We just gotta have a rotation on passing this around.
Have some brandless water as well.
Oh, my favorite. I love brandless water.
I love brandless water as well. See, it's all good. This is how you watch a best of 5 match. You have your snack and you have your drink. Your brandless drink.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Hello Panda. Again, I love the strawberry flavor. I wore the suit just for it. Thank you for nailing it right on the head. But coming into this next game, right, it's match point for NIP Flash, and most teams crumble under that pressure, or they get turned into diamonds under that pressure.
Now, inside of the M series so far, right, even with me landing here in the knockout phase, when teams are at this deficit 2-0 in a best of 5, they're able to somehow drag it all the way to a game 5. So I am not gonna say it's too far out of the ballpark for NIP Flash. I know it's a little worrying for y'all, but so far we've been seeing so much surprises, so many teams find a way to go the distance, but no team has been able to take it with a reverse sweep so far.
First time for everything.
It is the first time for
I was gonna
everything. oh, what a serious to say, first time for everything.
You know, it's like, first time NIP Flash can defeat SRG. That's also first time for everything, right? It can go both ways. It can go both ways, and honestly, I don't deny, because so far we've seen 2-0 and then a kind of reverse sweep, but then ending out with the first team that wins anyway. It's all about learning and adapting. I legit feel like second game is a way that SRG wants to learn what other things that NIP Flash got. Like, if we let go of the Bruno and Suyo, how do you guys perform? But now we have a code coming in from no, we're gonna look at a coach head-to-head here between both coaches to really see the difference or similarities between both coaches. So now we have Coach Arcadia as well as Zarate, and then when we look, I feel like the biggest difference is definitely on that win rate, because if we look at the first pick rate as well as the second pick rate, it's more or less the same. Like, again, we started with 50-50, by the way.
Yeah, we started 50-50, and I mean, obviously the stats are going to be like slightly skewed and somewhat close to each other, because again, both teams definitely have played enough games to reach to the point to meet each other here at the knockout rounds in lower brackets. But I got to give Zarate a lot of credit. He's done a good job with the team in terms of where their direction is with the draft. I think right now the players just need to feel comfortable, and that's something that may not necessarily be within his control.
They just have to find a game plan, right? I feel like the draft is okay, but it's these split decisions. When you have a team like SRG who knows how to make you go in two different directions, you can't let them tear you apart.
Yep. I mean, that's just the Malaysian playstyle, right? We see it with Vamos focused on that early game, and SRG that is just fluid like water. As long as they can attack you from multiple different angles, attention is a very powerful resource in such a fast-paced 5v5 game.
My WhatsApp group just contacted me and it's like, oh, are you reviewing the food? Is it good? Yes, it's good. Hello Panda is legit good. Okay.
You know, it's the first time I ever had Hello Panda, and it is really good.
Really good.
But every time we show it, it's gone in like 2 minutes.
Now we have a visual. Okay, we have a visual. We know who takes
accountability. Yeah, we have it's one piece and we just pass it along.
Now let's look back at it. We all agree that NIP Flash had a pretty good draft.
Oh yeah.
In game number 1, in game number 2. So now I think it's evident they need a little bit more than that for game number 3. The question is, what more can you get besides a good draft?
Well, for starters, let's get rid of things that force away that fluidity, right? It comes down to how exactly is Yums getting away with a lot of these Guinevere picks. Can we get Cho back onto JPL? Most importantly, get rid of that Lo Yi. That way they don't come from every single direction, because if we play truly front to back, that's where you see NIP Flash shine.
Yep, looking at a head-to-head here between Yums as well as JPL. If you look at a KDA, it's more or less the same. Damage taken per minute, I feel like this is more about playstyle. JPL definitely takes a lot more damage, but Yums, using picks like the Guinevere, you don't really take that much damage. You're just waiting for your opportunity. You jump in. When you jump in, that's when you take damage. But you don't always take all that damage. JPL is more of a front line compared to Yums.
Yeah, we're just seeing right now, Yums, he's picking a lot of engage, disengage roamers, whereas JPL, I mean, he's been going in for like the high-lows, so really once you're in there, and you know, it's not as easy to get out like a spatial migration could be. So jumping into game number 3, match point for the side of SRG, there's some answers that need to be found fast for NIP Flash. First off, when you have these separation plays, when you have 2 players separating you, Cram and Yums, you need to have a game plan. Everybody can't be running around in different directions. They have to play as a sound unit.
Okay, it's gotta be tight formations all across the board. But then again, we might see a side of NIP Flash that they've been hiding all of this time. Now, first off, let's see who's going to be first pick and who's going to be second pick in this upcoming drafting phase. I would have to assume, yep, it's going to be NIP Flash going to be on first pick. Blue side, SRG on second pick. Red side, Bant, Hilda, Phovius. It looks like they are still taking the approach of trying to lock down Cram's hero pool for now. I'm expecting SRG to kind of oblige and say, you know what, if we're going to follow the previous draft, let's follow the previous draft.
Butterflies.
I mean, I guess if they first picked Bruno for NIP Flash, SRG was okay with that. I know it was a little bit of limit testing, but it still worked out in their favor. This may be a situation where NIP Flash just wants to ban the Bruno themselves and get something into the hands of Diablo super early. Something that can create that mobility that he's used to shining on, not limiting him to a pick like an Edith, who was getting picked off majority of the previous game.
Or Ban Luyi.
Or Ban Luyi. That's, again, something I was recommending. I agree with you that, yes, he is a specialist when it comes down to mobility, but at the same time, the fact that he was defaulted onto high loss in a large majority of the games he's played here at M6 just goes to show he's willing to play the meta. The question is, what does his team need for them to win?
Always on the way.
And now we are going to see
That Matilda. That's
that Matilda ban out from the side of NIP Flash. Bruno is still walking on the board, but the million-dollar question is, will this be a first pickup for NIP Flash? Is that a gamble that they want to even allow to walk to the side of SRG? We are looking at that Zushin being banned out, so a couple of things still available for both sides. The Cho, we have yet to see be picked up. Hylos has been a little bit more highly prio.
I mean, SRG could ban the Cho now and then see how NIP Flash responds with their first pick. Because, yeah, NIP Flash, when both Bruno as well as CEO is open, they picked up the high loss. But this time, maybe they can go for a different direction, because if they can catch, might be looking better. They ban out the Luyi. SRG themselves ban out the Luyi. So, previously it was Hylos first pick into a Joy and Luyi second pick. So, they had a chance to pick up the Luyi, but maybe they're just smelling that Curtizi wants it for himself, so not going to deal with it.
Possibly. I mean, it could be just like a hard read, but at the same time, it's in the ban section, right? Especially within the first phase, it's still adjustable. They can still talk about it, and there's plenty of time to do so for the side of NIP Flash. I still feel like they're going to go with the high lots first pick once again. It's still really flexible for them. Diablo performs well on it overall. They've already committed at least 2 bans to the EXP sector, so makes sense, right?
Yeah, but if NIP Flash goes for that Hylos pickup, then SRG will have free range on this Bruno, which could definitely be a threat alongside the Suyo if they do want to go that route as well. And it looks like they are going to go in for the Cho.
Push into a corner, a lot of teams like to default to comfort picks.
Yeah, and again, we were talking about his show, definitely a little bit more proactive. And I feel like so far, a lot of junglers really don't like this pick, because more often than not, they will get kicked. Either Suyo, either the Joy, any kind of close range will get caught. SRG, they have the option. They didn't go for it for the second game. But this time, they're taking it. They're taking the Bruno, and they're taking the Joy as well.
Yeah, they don't mind the Suyo actually going over to the side of NIP Flash, right? Because Suyo only does well against the Joy when you find that initial lead, when you have that level lead and you keep on oppressing it. It's the same thing for when Alpha is played into the Suyo. Alpha just needs to maintain his farm, invade every once in a while because he knows he can win the 1v1, and then once Suyo gets like maybe 3-4 items, that's when you have to be a little bit more concerned.
So do we see the Hylos come out here? Because if not, it can be picked up from SRG, which would be a very strong draft to have to go against. Now with this Cho on the side of NIP Flash, now they have the path of isolation to be able to separate and create some chaos in these engagements. We are going to go ahead and see the Farza picked up alongside the Granger.
Right, long range, they've got artillery, ways to burst down their targets, especially with the way the Dragon, if it kicks their targets into the right direction, that target is going to blow up. I'm curious to see how SRG is going to respond to this, right? Now that they see the mid lane early on, technically they could lock their own mid laner early on as well. Do they want to play more fluid, or do they want to play standard where it's box of influence, let's keep it in here?
You know what my wish list is? Pick up the Suyo and just put Joy in mid.
The Stormy Joy? You know what?
Right?
The last time.
Think about that.
You know when Stormy was on SMG and decided to play Julian mid? That's when I'm like, whatever he picks, I'm never downing it again.
He picks Hellcurt me and it works out.
We've got way more examples, but we're not going to go down the list. Here we go. It's going to be the Gatot Gacha for that third pick. Interesting. A Flex that's able to taunt their targets, but at least threaten the Farsas.
Oh yeah, Farsa is not gonna have a good time. Like that Farsa pick might be a little bit early because it's not just the Gatot, it's the Joy as well. Both of which.
They could ban out the Valentina, not for the side of SRG, but for the side of NIP Flash. Or the Eve, if you want to stop them from having artillery to rain back against you. But they do have some answers. I mean, with the Cho, it's a good way to get to that back line. So we'll have to see which way this goes. Could even take out this Hylos, which is still able to be picked up from the side of NIP Flash. And we know how well Diablo can thrive on it.
Gentlemen, quick question here. We're going up against a Granger as well as the Farsa. Quite long range here. Do you fight fire with fire by having more range as well? Something like the Xavier, something like the Novaria, maybe even the Veil. Veil has pretty long range as well. Or do you just go the opposite route? You know what? We're going full dive. So having a mid laner, something like a Lilia, a Kadita, something that can really harass the Farsa. Right? You have two ways to answer the same question.
I agree with you. There are two ways with it, but some more effective than others. I would say the long range route is probably the safest bet. The only issue with that is that a lot of our long range, like whether it be marksmen or even like mid laners, need a lot of time to get to that dangerous point, right? You have to play such a controlled early to mid game, which so far, based on what we've been seeing from SRG, fits more towards their style since the early game hasn't usually gone in their favor in these past two matches.
I would say go range against range, just due to, we already know when it comes to SRG fighting in these engagements, they try and find a way to disrupt Nip Flash and make them separate. So if they can even out the playing field with range, then that's an element that Nip Flash does not have over them.
Good ban, by the way.
Very good bans. From both sides, really. I mean, Zarate is just looking towards the EXP side. If we do want to pick up the Hylos or something tanky, then at least we've got rid of majority of the counter matchups. Arcadia is like, we want Joyce to play the game. Let's get rid of what this early game Suyo has been giving us a lot of problems with, and also in the counter matchup of Fredrin, keep her in place.
Yeah, the Fredrin definitely a wise decision on that Joy. Now, I mean, it could be that Joy in the mid lane that you're hoping for, though. I mean, it's not too far out of the ballpark. We have seen it, actually.
Yep.
Team Spirit is the one that pulled that out with Sunset Lover. So maybe seeing SRG have the same pick on their side could work in their favor and catch somebody like them flash off guard. And it's not the worst thing, considering you can get back to the Farza. And then you also have a lot of pills. So we'll have to see which way this goes. Nonetheless, we are still looking for the jungler for the side of SRG as well. You know, an Hayabusa could actually... No, actually,
let's just assume the Joy is jungle.
Yeah,
but
Joy's jungle.
It'll be interesting if it does go mid.
I don't know. I saw a bit of a smirk coming in from Stormy. I was hoping he was telling his coach like, "Hey,
you guys want some Hello
the
Panda?
Valentina's banned out, so you gotta give me the Joy, right?"
See, the bowl helps, right?
Oh?
No, I'm just offering the casters Hello Panda. See, the bowl helps.
The bowl does help. All right, Vixana's already locked in, but now they're finishing it up with a Benedetta as well as a Guinevere.
Oh, Benedetta!
What a wild draft this has been.
Finally! Right, I feel like Diablo has been itching to bring this out.
For sure. For sure. I don't know if he's going to go full damage on this one. Probably not. I would assume that he's going to go tank Cursed Blast into Revitalize like he usually does. But let's see how SRG responds. Now that there's so much mobility and the fact that NIP Flash want to be the ones who are more fluid rather than playing a standard front-to-back game.
Oh, man, looking at what's left, I mean, do you go the Hylos here?
Wait. By the way, this is Guinevere jungle, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I mean, Hades has brought it up before, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be very interesting. SRG, last pick. Do we want fight fire with fire, have a damage EXP laner as well? The Kufra, we have not seen the Kufra.
Well played.
Yume's Kufra for a very long time.
God, he's made a name for himself on Cho as well as Kufra. It has been way too long. Good luck. Good luck to both teams.
This game has some nostalgia behind it. Thank you very much, panelists. You know what, casters? Have fun.
I think it's not just Diablo who's been itching to see something new. We've been itching to see something new from this game, from this entire series as well. And for the potentially last game, we're finally seeing it.
SRG basically said, if you want to go crazy, let's go crazy. Oh, Petrify! Diablo wants to go damage!
Oh, whoa.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Gone are the days of Revitalized Concussive Blast Benedetta. It's Diablo time.
And it's a Guinevere jungle, actually, that Hades is going to pull off against SRG. SRG. But what a way to close out the draft by bringing out Yums on that iconic Kufra up against this lineup with a endless amount of blink skills in their hands.
Man, I'm just super hyped for this matchup. Again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Land of Dawn. This is an elimination game. Match point for SRG. One loss here means NI Nip Flash will be eliminated from the M6 World Championship. And SRG say, yeah, let's go with it. Kufra. I love the Kufra pick for Yums.
I mean, I like the way they're trying to approach this because, like, for 2 games in a row, Cram has been insane in terms of applying the pressure. But on this Benedetta, Diablo might be able to go toe-to-toe up against Cram in the lane and in terms of how he's able to rotate faster out of the EXP lane. But again, that doesn't eliminate the fact that Curtizy will still have to face a lot of problems one way or another. On this Farsa, you'd have to be mindful of the Avatar of the Guardian as well as the Joy, as mentioned by our panelists earlier. So if he had a hard time trying to use the Feathered Airstrike with just the Hilda in the hands of SRG, now it's not just the Hilda actually. It's a lot more than that. Even the Kufra, I think, you'd have to consider that too.
JPL gonna walk up with Jikundo. Let's see if he actually gets a stun down. Sky should be able to retrieve this, and yes, he does. Just dancing around JPL. Yums is charging. Diablo clearing out the wave. Yeah, doing really well in the lane so far.
Yep, I think that's one of the biggest adjustments that we're seeing from NIP Flash in terms of heading into this game. And another is that Curtizy would want to probably play this a little bit more safely. It picks up the Purify, but then that Spatial Migration does not connect. So in terms of survivability, I feel like NIP Flash, they have a lot more ways to deal with that, but then they have to still be careful. The element of surprise still remains for SRG.
Okay, let's see. Spatial Migration and Violet Requiem in towards the final blow. Diablo claiming first blood. Sky's petrified. Electrified Beat still coming down though. Let's get the Red Tree battle here. Hades will claim it. Sky's forced back. JPL walking up. Cram might be caught here. Jikundo, Way the Dragon, locking him down. Hades claims the kill. Just like in game 1 and 2. Nip Flash start off strong.
I mean, I think they're trying to approach this in such a way that since our XP laner is able to be a lot more aggressive compared to the first 2 games, they're able to set things up. They're able to force out those skills which would ideally be the ones to cancel out and disrupt NIP Flash from doing the type of teamfight that they want, which is what we've seen earlier. Diablo just went in, forced out the early Avatar of the Guardian from Cram, and that was the signal for Curtizy that he could just use that Feathered Airstrike, control the area near that turtle pit, and then NIP Flash, they were able to take that objective successfully for themselves. But we'll see how SRG adjusts from this point onwards, because still, I mean, they still have the Bruno, and they have a lot of ways to counter-engage if it's just that.
Definitely. Doesn't seem like, at least in this game, it's a bit different, right? You can actually see that Vanix is bullying Innocent in the gold lane with the Granger up against the Bruno. This is something that I don't think we've seen in game 1 and 2. Innocent has been playing it really, really well, and previously he was the one who was winning in the matchup. So Nip Flash have so many more ways to actually, you know, drop down some kill pressure if they want to play around the bottom lane. Should be okay too. Up until Innocent gets the Haas claws, at least. That's when he can actually finally stabilize in this gold lane.
But at least so far, though, it's more of river control for NIP Flash and rotating towards the EXP lane. Oh, look at Diablo once again. Speaking of EXP lane, that's nearly a 1v3 that he actually engaged in. But even Hades, looking at the rotation so far, it seems like they just really want to establish control in that lane, so that they're able to focus a lot more of the resources towards the important or the key heroes that they have, specifically Vanix. Although he's managing it pretty well alone here in the bottom lane, still Sekai's though, he's here as well, so let's see what happens. Oh, with Grab!
Oh, gonna be assassinated. Hades finds it. JPL too gets away the dragon. Diablo gonna be terrified down. Skies won't be able. Wait.
He caught the kill on the Vanix.
Okay, yeah, I was like, whoa. That was an assassination as well.
Oh no.
Tanner's Revenge and the Rage over to JPL. Only JPL. This should be a free one for NIP Flash. Total guard. JPL, actually able to escape. Diablo jumping in forward, getting the kill now. Hades doing the same thing. Curtizy gonna be caught on the electrifying beast, but can just fly.
Hands. Although SRG, they're able to find their way to Vanix. Phoenix, which I don't think is that much of a good sign, but at least for them. Oh no, and speaking of, they're really trying to focus down on Vanix right now.
Yeah.
So if NIP Flash, they're operating kind of well in terms of other areas in the map, Vanix is starting to have quite a rough time in his gold lane.
Yeah, as much of a rough time as Stormy, I think, right? I mean, every time he walks up, he's gonna have to be double, triple, quadruple careful because of Diablo. He can actually he can one-shot Vexana at this point. Diablo's actually reading this really well. SRG have a hold there, and Diablo's not going for it. He's actually just
I mean
buying
the
time and like zoning them away from Hades.
yeah, he knows it. The eye indicator and all that.
Well played,
They're definitely just trying to read into where they're possibly positioned, but Diablo takes the long cut. He's just really being careful on this now that SRG probably has their eyes set on Diablo. And speaking of, that's the electrifying beast already used by Sekai's.
Okay, doesn't get the spatial migration. Even the final blow utilized by Diablo, you can see how much trust he had in Hades hitting that skill, but unfortunately for them, Skies is too slick with it.
Yeah. So we're waiting for the next potential objective, but Cram is waiting here in the Riverside. So they're just really doing well in terms of scouting each member out. Curtizi uses the wing by wings. So it's just like SRG, they're able to get their turret, the tier 1 turret down bottom, but Stormy, oh no, you said being quadruple careful. But I don't think he was able to foresee that.
I think he might have to do more than quadruple careful. Spatial migration on top of the fact that there's a final blow. Petrify. And yeah, I think the flicker choice might have been a bit too much of a gamble here. Times of edge and the rage JPL with a shampoo. Gets away. Sky's dealing the damage. Worldy and the crit from Innocent. Hades picks up the turtle though, and Diablo will be able to trade it with a turret up top.
My goodness, 2 objectives in exchange for JPL. I think that's a really good trade for NIP Flash. They get a turret as well as their 3rd consecutive turtle, which explains also why we're seeing this much of gold lead in their hands. And I mean, if you were SRG, this entire Quidivir jungle, it must have really caught them off guard. I don't think Yumes has been able to really pull off that perfect Tyrant's Rage reverse combo, but speaking of Yumes, oh, he's very, very low, but JPL gets bursted down first.
AOG into the back, Diablo! What a set, what a petrify! Beautifully done!
Diablo! Just took the clutch plays on the minute that Sekai's trying to look for the trade, and he will be able to get Vanix. Hades will be punishing him though, and that's the monster kill for Diablo.
Whoa, all right. Maybe that's a bit too crazy, Mr. Diablo. Has to wait for the final blow at least before you want to dive into Stormy. Man, Diablo on the Benedetta. This is why. I mean, at least in MSC 2023, do you remember how much respect was placed onto his comfort picks? His badonkadonk. I remember, if he starts badonging, this might be a tough one. Diablo gets out with the final blow too.
Yeah. And I think SRG, they're struggling to find the perfect timings to layer their skills appropriately up against the targets that Yumes eventually finds across the map. I mean, even if Yumes gets to jump on a member from NIP Flash, Stormy, I think he'd be thinking twice about trying to go in, but this is the perfect target though. That's JPL, that's all alone. Separated from all the members of NIP Flash.
Hades trying to catch him. Feather airstrike over to Cram. The burst not enough, but Diablo's coming in. He's godlike. Gets the kill. 1 for 1. Cram for JPL.
Diablo's been coming in at the perfect timings on this Benedetta. And this is probably why you should really learn how to respect. I mean, there have been a lot of adjustments from NIP Flash, that's for sure. They've been sticking with the high lows. They've been sticking with the CC for Diablo. But this is an entirely different version of NIP Flash. This is them playing where they're comfortable playing. And Yumes, oh no, he connects onto Hades. But will they be able to burst him down? Oh no, Diablo once again!
Oh, he got shut down by Innocent though! JP on the back, goes for the Invader Dragon. Hades with the retry win. Yumes, spatial migration catching onto him. JPL falling. That was a big shutdown that Innocent picked up.
I can only imagine the bounty. I can only imagine the bounty that went into the hands of Innocent, but still NIP Flash, they got their hands on the Lord. So they will be able to maintain the control over the map. But Innocent is slowly starting to join in the team fights. The Lord will be immediately taken care of by Sekais as well. But they ought to be careful. If earlier Diablo could just be as aggressive as he wants to be, right now SRG, they're having enough damage to deal with him.
How much gold was that? Wait, he's 8.6k.
Oh my god.
He's 1,000 gold ahead. How much gold did he get? I really wonder. But on the other side, wow, Diablo, 3,000 gold ahead of the Gato Kacha.
That's insane. That's a high amount of damage that you could expect from this Benedetta. If we were to recall the emblems that he went for earlier, it's the fighter emblem together with the master assassin and a bit of concussive blast as well. So you could expect him to really dish out the damage, but an eye for an eye. That was close for Diablo.
Okay, Yums, Tarnish Revenge, just find Rage. Guys, trying to go for the flank earlier for the airstrike. Will be able to zone them away with the Death Sonata. Okay, NIP Flash, get away. Man, that was close. Guys almost got Diablo while he was recalling.
Yeah, and that is precisely why we've been saying that SRG, once they're able to pick up all their items, once they're able to group up, that's a completely different story. Diablo has to be a little bit more careful in terms of the heroes that he wants to look out for against SRG. Innocent at this point, he's only lacking one more item and is currently leading in terms of gold ranking. But Hades, he finds the target!
Just into the final blow. Grandmaster AUG out of there. Diablo didn't even use any, he just final blow. That was the final blow damage. Oh my lord.
At least for NIP Flash, they're really able to provide the follow-ups. That's something we're yet to see from SRG, especially if they're grouped up together.
Wow.
The most they can do is just really look out for those targets that are isolated, but checking out the damage dealt ranking, you have to look at Diablo and the amount of damage he's dealt in this game.
Diablo, every time he gets a signature pick, man, he always finds ways to get highlights. In a world tournament, international tournament, MSC was the Badang, M6 might just be the time for his Benedetta.
And imagine, it's not like Curtizi's having that much of a hard time. Even up against this kind of lineup, even up against the Joy, I think Sekais has been trying to look for the angle since earlier to just hunt down Curtizi. But since they have these much turrets left, but since they have this much control left, they're not able to pull off exactly that. But oh wait!
Punch the rage, eternal guard, catching JPL while he was dashing. Skies! Oh! Finds it! Final blow coming down. Great revitalize. That's an eye for an eye from Diablo in his head! JPL though! Oh no, that's Hades with the spatial migration, the Violent Requiem. Damage not enough to take anyone down. Vanix against the world, 4v2. Innocent wants some smoke, dashes forward. That was 3 for 1. Oh! That's a shot down from Vanix.
Wow, he's very lucky.
And I can't believe we're seeing some sort of a replay from game number 1 and 2. How NIP Flash were just in the lead, but suddenly a single pickoff, a single play turns things around. And earlier that particular play was Sekais being able to hunt down Curtizi. Once they lost that damage, that additional layer of damage, Sillamore and Trice, they were just able to go in. But now that they're back, they'll have to defend this because SRG, they were able to secure the Lord.
This is very dangerous now for NIP Flash. The early lead that they got, the 12 minutes of gameplay, it disappeared just with one fight. Again, SRG take full control. Sky's electrifying beats. It's gonna be the stun overdose. Sky's very low. Now Diablo chasing him. JPL shuts him down. Skies will be slain in the bottom lane. Innocent, though, will not stay idly by. He will be active, making quick work of the tier 2.
In exchange of that kill on Sekais, they might just bid farewell to all the remaining inner turrets. Diablo, will he be able to go? Oh no, he gets spotted by Stormy. But will he engage in this? He's alone, not anymore though. Cram is also here, Avatar the Guardian.
Let's see Diablo. How do you get away from this one? That's a conceal. Petrify! Diablo going forward. That's Stormy taken down. Yums with the spot. Time Revenge and the range finding him. Innocent in the back still be able to free hit Hades. Still caught on the damage. Hades getting away with the spatial migration. That's a good shot over to Innocent by Curtizi. Lord still alive. Hades walking back. Vanix trying to clear it as fast as possible. And they will be able to defend against it. Oh man, the turn from Diablo.
Them deciding to engage in that fight probably cost them all the remaining inhibitor all the remaining inner turrets. But that was okay, I feel, for NIP Flash. It felt like them really showing that they were still in the game. They'd still be ready to take on SRG if they too commit just one single mistake. Now looking at the items, both of the gold laners already have their hands on their complete builds. And Scram is slowly catching up too. So the sustain is gradually being there for SRG. Also picks up the Antique Cuirass. So now they will probably be a bit more confident to engage in the fights, even with the presence of a complete 5-man lineup for NIP Flash.
Great reaction there from JPL, actually shunpooing out of the Towers of Revenge from Yums. But NIP Flash, they are far away from getting that lead back, I feel. You know, SRG, their composition does really well in the later stage of the game with the Joy, Bruno, Innocent, and Skies. They should be online to do whatever they want in the fights. And I mean, to be fair, for Innocent, we've already seen it.
Yep. So they get to use the Magic Sentry, find the other members of SRG, but Yums will be charging, doesn't connect onto JPL. But this is becoming tricky for NIP Flash.
Definitely. And Diablo doesn't even have enough damage to threaten Skies if he dives in. Like previously, Skies couldn't jump in because once you get petrified, you're technically almost dead, right? Now Skies is pretty chill with it. Every time he actually jumps in, I don't think there's enough damage with the Petrify and the Phantom Slash to really threaten him.
Yeah, especially if he gets to dance around all those bullets from Vanix. But it seems like the bullets now are primarily being used to poke down crucial members of SRG. This is the Lord Dance that we're watching for NIP Flash and SRG. It seems like NIP Flash are actually in control of the Lord Pit, but SRG, they have a lot of range, so they can engage whenever they do want to go for Diablo!
Diablo gets the assassination! JPL caught in the midst of it all. Stormy gets a Curse Blast. Vanix shooting them down with the Detonata. Eye for an eye from Diablo. Innocent takes him down, though. 2 for 1. It started up with Skies taken out, and now it's SRG with the winning team fight.
That was an important pickoff. That was one of the probable game changers that NIP Flash could have done, courtesy of Diablo taking out Skies. Oh no, but then SRG, they still want to go for it. They take out Hades too.
That's a win of nature from Innocent. That's a bit more info, but I think SRG are very happy to trade info for a free Lord. Hades is down for 30 seconds. Innocent can very easily just solo this. And NIP Flash, now they're going to have to defend another Lord.
This has been such an unexpected turn of events. From the Lord Dance to the way Diablo took out Skies, to the way SRG took out Hades. You would have thought it was already the ideal scenario for NIP Flash, but now once again, they will have to defend, and this time, only with their base turrets remaining. They have the range, they have the wave clear. This is still the Benedetta we're talking about, but once you use up all those crucial resources, SRG, I feel like they won't think twice of going in.
That's a 2,000 gold lead that Innocent has over Vanix. At this point, the gold lead doesn't really matter for the gold laners. It'll just be item swaps, right? But still, Innocent is holding on to that gold lead. Same goes for Diablo. It'll just be item swaps now that we are waiting for. He's already on the way to the Rose Gold Meteor. SRG 4,300 gold ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, Skies, he also has his hands on the Winter Crown right now, so he can either go in, force a reaction from NIP Flash, and the electrifying beats, it will still be casted anyway. So NIP Flash, they have to be careful for that, but Cram and Diablo, they have a world of their own in the top lane.
That's an island right there. Up top, it's an island. It's the XP lane island. Yums. Oh, great cancel with the Eternal Guard there.
Okay.
Well, spatial migration earlier. 2 base turrets down. Diablo still in a 1v1 up top in this island. Uh-oh. He's going to bring some friends in. Diablo caught by the AOG. Cram might just be going for this 1v1.
Okay, they're chasing after him.
Uh-oh.
Skies!
Eye for an eye! Goodbye! Good night, Diablo. Skies takes him down. The honorable 1v1 wasn't so honorable.
And that was a call for a friend. They literally had to respond, but props to what Diablo did. They were able to save at least 1 base turret for NIP Flash, but this is the only remaining base turret. And so after I said it, he jumps on the
2-man special migration, but in the back again. Way the dragon, lock the Skies down. That's an immortality buy for Skies. Let's see what he can do with it. Buys the Winter Crown, or just uses it here. Escapes from the clutches of NIP Flash. Yomes turns bench and the Rage Flicker out. Innocent still free, hitting Vanix very low. AOG coming out as well. That's a Chasm Spatial Migration. Selangor Red Giants, clean sweep. NIP Flash to continue their road in the lower brackets.
The Red Giants are here to stay. Still hungry for that title and that year for Golden Road. A clean sweep delivered to us by the proud Giants of Malaysia.
And with this, SRG will continue in the lower brackets, but for NIP Flash, it is GG, well played. NIP Flash will be eliminated from the M6 World Championship after getting through the grueling Swiss stage.
It was a closer fight than the first two, but we'll have to say farewell for now. Let's go over back to our panel.
I mean, the crowd is excited, so that one's for sure. Selangor Giants was able to take down NIP Flash, a clean 3-0. But yeah, you guys, like, even the cast was talking about it. Game number 3, it was much closer.
What a brawl. What a brawl from minute 1 all the way up to the end. I wasn't expecting the Benedetta to go full damage in that particular sense, but at least there were adjustments, right? Not going for lethal ignition, instead going for concussive blast to maintain control over the early game wave push. But man, golly, there were a lot of times where this squad really made me sweat.
Let's talk about the range of Diablo, by the way.
Sampai jumpa lagi di streaming Nobar berikutnya. Oke, bye.